IIM BMS 80, which is the entrance exam for BMS program at IIM Kozhikode, is going to be conducted on 22nd of June 2025. We are coming up with a crash course wherein we will be covering the whole syllabus that is going to be asked in the exam. This crash course is going to have 30 sessions and each session will be delivered to you on this YouTube channel itself daily at 9 pm. After this crash course is done, we will be providing you with the workshops that will definitely help you train for the exam. As of now, we know that the exam is going to have only QA section and VA section. There is no LR section asked in the exam. But the paper pattern of the exam is not known. As soon as we come to know about the paper pattern, we will definitely deliver 3 to 5 mock tests to you guys as well. So make sure that you subscribe to this channel and inform your friends that this course has started and they can benefit from it. And now let us start learning.
Welcome to Reading Comprehension third session today. So this session is basically third in the series of Reading Comprehension sessions. And today we are going to take a look at a fair few passages which are going to be easy in their difficulty level. And we are going to also take a look at variety of questions which are there as a part of different examinations. Okay. So whenever we are doing this, please make sure that you are jotting down the essential input that you're getting from me as a part of reading comprehension strategy, okay, for this particular session. And whenever we are solving any question in any verbal ability session or any RC session, please make sure that those inputs are written down somewhere so that when you kind of feel like you're not able to increase your score, or when you feel that you're not able to solve something or going wrong in one particular area, those inputs are going to help you a lot, especially different types of elimination methods that we use to find the answers, the different types of contextual usages that we try to understand in reading comprehension especially, so on and so forth. So how to find an answer when we are not really able to find the answer. Okay, there are a lot of tips like this when which are given in the class, so please make a note of them. So let's get started. Passage 1. Please read through this first bit. You can pause the video here and read through. When you restart the video, it will be on the next slide. This is the next slide for the passage. Please pause and read through. Please solve question number 1 and continue. Pause the video here to do that, and when you continue the video, there will be a discussion of question number 1. Or rather, just let's go on. These are other questions that you have to solve. So you can pause the video here and give them a try. Okay, so I hope you have solved all the questions properly. Okay, let's take a look at the very first question. According to the passage, which one of the following is a difference between the region where zero as a concept took birth and the Western world? So first of all, in this question, there should be no confusion that Western world and the region where zero took birth, the concept of zero took birth, are two different areas. Obviously, they are trying to contrast these two things. Okay. So basically, what is happening here? It is, let's take an option. Let's take a look at the options. The former was more advanced. Former is basically this one. Okay, so this is A, this is B. So when we say former, it is the part that is coming first in the sentence and later talks about, or latter talks about the one that came next. This is latter, this is former. So the former was more advanced with respect to mathematics, while the latter was not. This is not true, simply because you see here, despite developing sophisticated maths and geometry, ancient Greeks had no symbol for zero. Okay, so that means that these guys could have been more advanced. Western world could have been more advanced. Okay, while the latter was the latter was more advanced. Here the options are reversing the two. So A is not the correct answer. The former had a traditional philosophy dealing with nothingness, while the latter did not. Okay, so here concept of zero is not an obvious one, right? Here Europeans are asking, why would we need a number for nothing, right? So again, here these are Western areas, right? So you can say that they did not have any concept. So this bit checks out. The former had traditional philosophy dealing with nothingness. So the first one, okay, here the region where zero came out to be. Concept of zero is a total revolution, and it also had philosophical tradition of contemplating the void. Now, what does void mean? Void means nothingness. So what have they done? They have actually used some synonyms in the options. So we have to make sure that while we are reading the options and when we are trying to find the answers, we are able to correlate the synonyms. Okay, so the correct answer should be B. But in verbal, we decide whether the answer is the best answer or not on the basis of the other options as well. So we should go ahead and first nullify or eliminate the other options. The former was philosophically better than the latter. There is no such better or worse wala comparison. So no. The concept of zero was a product of a long entrenched philosophy in Europe. Now, a lot of us could get a little bit antsy, or we can get a little bit hurried while we are attempting. So we might not look till the end. Okay, here what is the answer? The concept of zero was a product of long entrenched philosophy, but where? In India or in this part of the world. Okay, not European part of the world, right? So factually also B makes the best option available to us. Let's take a look at question number 2. Which of the following cultures had some type of indication for zero? So this is mentioned. Okay, if we take a look at the answer, look at the options here. Here you find the answer. Several ancient cultures had similar placeholders. Placeholders as in they may not have the exact symbol for zero, but they were using something to denote a zero. Okay, so Babylonians used double wedge and Mayans used shell. So Babylonians and Mayans definitely had some indications. Okay, so basically this should be B, C and D. Yeah, so basically these two had them. Okay, now 1 and 2 should be the answer. Okay, is it 2 only? Not really. We have several options that are we have 2 also that was there. 1 is right, but what about 3? Europeans did not have any indication or idea of zero. That has been already discussed. So wherever there is 3, that has to be eliminated. Now we could get confused between A and D, none of the above. Okay, so answer should be none of the above. Why? Because though 2 is right, we are referring to a combination of words here. So correct answer is 2 and 1. Okay, and since that is not there, here it is talking about 2 only, right? So 2 only is not the correct answer with respect to the given options. So we have to go ahead and mark none of the above. Let's take a look at the next question, question number 3. The symbol for zero evolved from which of the following? This has been typically mentioned here. Let's see here. The dot symbol in Bakshali script is the one that ultimately evolved into the hollow centered version of symbol that we use today. Okay, so answer should be dot. Okay, though these were used as representations in other cultures, the one that eventually evolved to today's symbol is basically from dot. Let's take a look at the next question. Question number 4. All of the following statements are true according to the passage except cultural point of views can help in mathematical breakthroughs. Even regionally distant cultures can come up with similar concepts. The concept of zero is essential for developing advanced concepts of geometry and maths, and both A and B. So A and B. So here it is, if we take a look at the answers, which are true. A is right, B is right. Okay, both A and B therefore are right. So correct answer is C, because we are looking at something except. So here you can basically just take a look at something that is factually wrong as per the passage. So the concept of zero is essential for developing advanced concept of geometry and maths. Why is this factually wrong? Because here they have spoken about ancient Greeks who had advanced maths and geometry, but they did not have any idea of zero. So factually also this is wrong. If some of you have some knowledge of geography, you will be able to understand that Babylonia, Mayans, and Indian culture. Okay, these three cultures are geographically quite separated, right? Though that is not clearly mentioned, finding the answer to this question is still very easy. Okay, even if you don't have any idea of geography. Okay, so you can just find it on the basis of testing whether the given option is right or wrong. So if you don't know this, if you don't know this, okay, and you're not able to answer, if you go to C, you can still understand that this should be the answer, because this is factually wrong as per the passage. Okay, so this is a factually mentioned bit, and it is going against whatever is mentioned in the passage. So the correct answer should be C, because it is an except question. When we take a look at such questions where there is except or negative, what we should do ideally is that we should try to resolve the statement into a simpler statement. For example, the statement here says all of the following statements are true according to the passage except. So if a simplified version of the statement will mean what? Which of the following is false? Okay, so you are not looking for a true statement, you are looking for a false statement. So basically, if you reduce complicated sentence structures to simpler sentence structures, especially when we are dealing with question statements which are complicated, it will be easier for you to mark correct answers, because we get we don't get confused a lot. That is the idea. Now this is the next passage. Please pause your video here to read through. Once you start, you'll see the next slide. This is the second part of the passage. Please read through and solve question number 1. These are the next questions. Please solve by pausing the video. This is the last question. Please pause the video and solve it. So let's start the discussion. What is the central idea of the passage? Now, such questions can be a little bit complicated to deal with, because you have to choose from an option. You don't have the option of writing subjectively what you feel is the central idea of the passage, right? No subjectivity is there. So the best way to solve these kind of questions is to make sure that you are marking the most appropriate or the best answer. Okay, best answer. You have to find the best answer from among the options. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Option A, there are downsides as well to having children. Okay, this seems like a consistent theme, but we'll check out for the other options, because we can't say something is best unless and until we have compared it. The world is overpopulated. This has been mentioned only in a single statement, but it is not particularly one very essential theme. If we take a look at this entire passage, here they're talking about why should we have more people. We are we are having quite a lot of people till here. That is the idea. Okay, now here there is discussion about pro baby and pro birth policies, how we are obsessed with children. Okay, how this is about people who love children but they can't have any. Okay, so and what the author would want to say in as against that. So this is the idea here. She's talking about the birth, the challenges, okay, the idea of motherhood and what exactly it entails. Okay, and here she's talking about the impacts of having children. So you can say that the majority passage focuses on downsides of having children. Okay, so that could be a better answer. But world is overpopulated is a sentiment given in very small area. Humans should stop reproducing, though it feels like she is kind of leaning towards that idea, or she's saying that maybe children are not at all that important. Okay, or maybe she's saying that if humans don't reproduce as much, it will not be a problem. But this sentiment that humans should stop reproducing is not there at all. Okay, what she is saying is maybe it is not absolutely necessary to have children. So C is also not the correct central idea. B is not the correct central idea. Humans could save the planet if children are not present. Again, this is not the central idea. Okay, correct answer should be A. No such mention has been given here. So as compared to when we talk about D, no such mention has been made in the passage. So correct answer should be A. Let's take a look at question number 2. What does the author mean by the statement, not that I am in a position to argue for a declining birth rate? Now, please notice that this kind of highlighting will be done in NMAT. This kind of highlighting will be done in CET and some other exams. Okay, when they are going to ask you about a particular statement, while reading only, you'll notice that there is something that is highlighted. So you have to pay better attention to it. Okay, it could be in bolds or in highlights. All right. So let's see what is happening here. Here you can find the highlight. And she extends on the idea of what she means here. Okay, having 2 children, I cannot tell others to not do as I did. So basically, what is she saying? That she herself has kids, so she can't really tell people not to have children. Now let's see if there is any sentiment that resonates with that. Option A, she feels that since she has kids herself, such a comment will be hypocritical in nature. What is the meaning of hypocritical? Hypocritical means you are having different set of standards and rules for yourself and others. Okay, especially when it comes to being more hard on others, then you can be called a hypocrite. So correct answer seems like A. Let's go through the other options. Even so, such comments hurt people's sentiment and hence should not be made. This is not the idea here, because if we read through this bit, we can find that she does not mean that. A declining birth rate is not an ideal scenario for consumerism. This is right, but this is not the idea behind this particular statement. Children are the most important liability one must bear proudly. She is saying that though we behave like this, it is not absolutely important to have children. So one must bear proudly wala koi sentiment nahi hai. So even D is not the correct answer. So the correct answer here should be A. Let's take a look at the next question. What is the tone of the passage? Now, when we talk about tone of the passage kind of questions, we have to understand that these are going to test our vocab as well, and whether we are able to perceive the way a language is used to write something. Okay, so there can be many ways an author is going to try to evoke some feelings in you. So what you have to understand is, while reading, what kind of feeling did you have? Or while reading, what did you analyze about the passage? What exactly the author is trying to tell you. So once you understand what exactly the author is trying to tell you, how she has conveyed it will help you understand the tone of the passage. Okay, so here, if you take a look at it, is the author criticizing something? She is criticizing several things, but is that the basic idea, criticism behind the passage? No. Sorry. Next, analytical. Is analysis the basic idea? Maybe we can say that because she is discussing about a long-standing social pressure of that of having children, and moving on to reasons why it should not be a pressure. She's also saying that people are required to have children, or children are there as a part of humans, but whether they are absolutely essential or not is being analyzed here. Is she speaking optimistically about things? She doesn't seem particularly optimistic. Okay, it doesn't feel like the author is very optimistic or very hopeful about the future. In fact, she's saying that there are a lot of problems in our future. Okay, environment ka problem hai, consumerism ka problem hai, right? So this is very important. Okay, so she is not talking about optimism, or she is not very optimistic regarding things. Is she forgiving? There is not anything that she has to forgive, rather. So there is no situation which will say that the author is forgiving someone. So we can say that the best bet is B. Okay, the best bet is B. She's analyzing one particular trend, one particular societal pressure, and talking about it. She's not particularly criticizing any particular thing as well. So she's not very critical of something. She is giving some thoughts, and she's also talking about how she herself is contradicting the thoughts, but how these thoughts can serve in general. So this is more like an analysis. So answer should be B. Let's talk about question number 4, which is the strongest argument made by the author that warns against having children. Strongest argument. So this is a sort of like a critical reasoning based question. Why? Because whether something is a strong argument or a weak argument, you understand that by correlating it with what stand the author is taking. Okay, so you have to conclude something regarding the stand, and you have to see what aligns very strongly, or what basically very strongly supports, in order to understand the strongest argument. Okay, so let's try to decipher this particular question. It is not in favor of the planet and its environment. This is just mentioned in passing. It is not really mentioned as such, particular in the passage. People do not find time to do more important things with their lives when they have children. Again, this is not something particularly mentioned. There needs to be an over involvement of parents in children's life. In fact, she's saying that she is a mother of this sort, and she might not allow her children to become proper, fully functioning adults. Okay, so all three of them can be just removed from the set of options. D, bringing up kids is a very expensive and burdening process. This is the strongest argument. Why? See, if you take a look at the structure of the write-up, first of all, even space-wise, okay, even space-wise, she's talking about different burdens here. She's talking about obsession with children here, and she's giving a very detailed analysis of exactly how much it costs, okay, to raise up a child. So this entire paragraph is about the costs involved, and therefore this makes it up for a very interesting bit. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे एक इसमें पूरा कॉस्ट के बारे में बात हो रही है, यहाँ पे मेंटल प्रेशर्स एंड societal expectations and all. Okay, so majorly she's talking about those problems, and therefore you can say that D is the correct answer. Okay, let's move on to the next passage. Please read this. Please pause the video here, read through and solve question number 1. These are the other questions on the same passage. Please pause the video and solve them. This is the last question on the passage. Now let's discuss the answers. What is the central theme of the passage? Okay, so when you read a passage, a central theme has to be that main stream of thought that is being implemented. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to make sure that we are sticking to the central theme with respect to the fact that it is supposed to be present in somewhere or another in all the paragraphs and in all the ideas that are being expressed in the passage. So the correct answer here should be, let's see, option number 1, to analyze moral choices made by people. So are they analyzing moral choices in the passage? No, they are talking about the effect of language on the moral choices. So they are analyzing effect of language on moral choices, not the choices themselves. Okay, so A is not correct. To discuss the difference between two languages, English and Spanish. They have taken these two languages as an example, but that is not the main idea behind the passage. To enumerate the problems arising out of multilingualism. Are they enumerating problems? They are just researching, or they are just looking into the problems, the differences in how languages can affect our thought process. So neither of these are right. Not one of these are right. Let's see the next one. To study the impact of language on moral problems and choices. This exactly is the central theme of the passage. So they are introducing us to the idea, okay, here, how language can affect. Then they are talking about how exactly, it is, what exactly is happening. So this is a case study, okay. Then this is the reasoning behind it, and this is another possible cause of why such a thing is happening. So the entire passage is talking about impact of language on moral problems and choices. So the correct answer should be D. Just for your reference, let's go through the, I'll show you the passage again in case you're having some confusion. So this is the first slide of the passage. If you want to refer to anything, you can stop it here and refer. And this is the second slide. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. What is the primary purpose of the passage? What is the primary purpose of the passage? The primary purpose of the passage is to do what? Central theme हमें समझ में आ गया कि theme है moral choices के बारे में बात करने का कि how is the language associated with moral choices. Now, what is the purpose of the passage? To explain a theory proposed to clarify a contradiction. Are they explaining a theory to propose a contradiction? It doesn't seem like they are giving one theory. They are giving us several options or several possible theories. So maybe this is not the right answer. To discuss a moral problem and its possible solution. Are they discussing a moral problem? They are using a moral problem as an example. So no. To discuss an unexpected outcome resulting from a simple change. So is this what is happening in the passage? They are discussing how choices in moral problems can change depending on change in the language the problems are conveyed in. So this seems to be the most likely option. Let's check out D. To compare two theories explaining a phenomena. We don't have two theories explaining a phenomena, and those two theories are also not being compared. Okay, so if you look at the passage, what's happening in the passage? They are simply talking about one phenomenon, which is an outcome of some variance in language. Okay, so simple change is this variance, and outcome is this phenomenon, and it is an unexpected outcome because the answers changed. Okay, so if one person is listening to a problem, their reaction is supposed to be obviously the one that is going to remain consistent. We are not expecting their reaction to change on the basis of the language the problem is conveyed in. That is why it is unexpected. So the correct answer should be C. Next, question number 3. According to the last paragraph, we tend to change our moral situations when listening to the problem in our mother tongue for the following reasons. According to the last paragraph, we tend to change our moral solutions when listening to problem in mother tongue for the following reasons. So wherever the reasons are given here, okay, here is where you should find the answer. So what is the correct answer for this one? Languages other than the mother tongue need deliberate processing. Yes, this has been mentioned in the passage. Okay. So what is happening? One of these, gut level feeling and other full and careful deliberation about the greatest good for greatest number. Okay, this is the mode of thinking. So when we use a foreign language, we unconsciously sink into a more deliberate mode, while native language में क्या होने वाला है? Native language में our cognitive system does not need to do this. So they are saying that native language is more about gut feeling, quick response, so on and so forth. Okay, that is the idea here. So the correct answer here, the first option here seems to be all right. Next, the mother tongue appeals to baser instinct. This also has been mentioned that the mother tongue is going to be more appealing to us because we tend to have some basic like instincts associated with our mother tongue. Okay, and the mother tongue can overpower rationality and practicality. Yes, this also has been mentioned. Okay, so the correct answer is all of the above. Let's take a look at the next question. The author may agree with which of the following? If a movie is watched in mother tongue, it will evoke a more emotional response. Okay, because it is mother tongue and it is supposed to make us more emotional. Maybe those who think in a language different from their mother tongue are less rational. Actually, they are more rational. Why? Because a foreign language makes us think deliberately, making us more rational. See, there is no explanation for why a different language can change our moral perception. They have actually given two explanations. So no, there is no need to study the impacts of language on people. The entire passage is about the study of impact of language on people and their thought process. So obviously the author is not going to agree with this. So the correct answer should be A, right? Let's check out this passage number 4. You may pause the video here to read through. This is the next bit. These are the two questions. Please solve them. Let's solve the questions. In the context of the passage, what is the meaning of the word innate? Okay, so let's find out the word innate. Where it has been used? The mother's behavior is innate, burnt into the mouse brain, and requires no training. So basically, what is happening? It is about natural. Okay, some people might say mandatory, but mandatory is something that is made compulsory out of an external factor. Something that is compulsory by your base instinct or by your nature, that has to be natural. Okay, so these two options do not figure at all. Correct answer is A. Question number 2. What is the key idea behind the paragraph number 3? Whenever we encounter these kind of questions, please make sure that you are testing all of these against what has been exclusively mentioned in paragraph number 3. So let's see. Where is the paragraph here? What are they talking about? They are talking about shares work having greater implications. Okay. On what? Basically, understanding wiring that affects social behavior, right? and it could help with people on autism spectrum. So it could also give us some light about the debates whether the creatures are shaped by nature or nurture. Okay, so this is the idea. So let's see. Understanding animal behavior towards their pup. This doesn't seem to be the key idea. Let's see. No, it's not about animals and pups. Okay, it's about brain in general. So here, what is the idea in the passage, paragraph 3, that understanding that particular behavior that is discussed in the first two paragraphs, it can help us understand the wiring of brain and its behavior in social settings. So A is not the right one. Using research on mice to understand dynamics of social interactions between mice. This seems like maybe this could be right. Okay. Next, in-depth study of brain functioning of animal mothers. Again, this is not the main idea. Now let's see, using research on mice to understand the dynamics of social interaction between humans. Is this the right answer? Okay. He hopes that understanding brain circuits that facilitate this simple action could be a window to how disruptions in wiring affect social behavior. So he is more concerned about brain circuits, not about using research on humans. Though he is talking about understanding human brain, he is not actually talking about using the research on mice on humans, right? Why? Because that discussion has been carried out in first and second paragraph. So this is a very close option. D, finding a solution for social interactive disorders such as autism. Yes, this has to be the correct answer. Okay, so the correct answer should be D. Why? Because they have specifically mentioned that. So in case you get very confused in close by options, we can see that here they are more about autism spectrum in general, and hence this has to be the correct answer. Okay, they're not only trying to understand social interactions, but they are talking about nurture versus nature. Okay, they're talking about social behavior and here inappropriate social interactions such as autism disorder. So you can say that neither of them are the best answers. Okay, there could be a better answer, but out of the given options, this has been particularly mentioned, and that's why this has to be the right one. B is implied, but it is implied by the combination of paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and paragraph 3. And we are talking only about paragraph 3 here. That's why the answer should be D. Okay, if we are talking about general understanding of all three of them combined together, then B can be the answer. Question 3. As per the passage, which of the following are not true with respect to locus coeruleus? Okay, so here it is a factual question. The correct answer is D. Okay, it houses the cells used for innate mothering behavior. Yes, this has been mentioned. It can be found in brainstem of all vertebrates. Yes, this has been mentioned. Okay, let's see. Okay, source of noradrenaline, some key brain functions. Okay, and innate mothering behavior. Okay, in a region of brain called locus coeruleus. So out of these two statements, we are getting the answer. Okay. Next, as per the passage, so basically this also has been mentioned. These three have been mentioned, and D is the only one that is not mentioned. Why? Because it is important center of triggering all hardwired behavior. Whenever we have extreme words like all or some or every or none, we have to be careful. Okay, this is very important. Mouse pups are on their own once they are born. Question number 4, which is true. Are they on their own? No. Their mother has a certain instinct to protect them. So, no. One particular region in the brain is responsible for triggering innate behaviors. This seems to be likely. C, studies conducted on different species cannot be used for any other species. This will fail the entire experiment, right? The idea is using the research on mice and trying to understand its implication on humans also. Okay, next, animals are shaped more by nature than nurture. They have not defined it this way. They are saying that this research further down the line could give us an answer whether it is more nature or nurture. So the correct answer should be B. Question number 4. The only thing that is true as per the passage without any doubt is B. One particular region is responsible for triggering innate behaviors. please read this passage, okay, and make sure that you're attempting this one, because a lot of times a lot of students might not reach passage 5 in class. So here it is. This is the second page of the passage. Next set of questions. I hope you have solved it. Let's take a look at the questions. In the above passage, what is the meaning of intangible monolith? Now let's go to where it has been mentioned. Intangible monolith. The cloud is not an intangible monolith. It is messy, swelling tangle of data centers, fiber optic cables, cellular towers, network devices that span the globe. So if we take a look at the word, intangible basically means something that cannot be perceived through our sense organs. And monolith means a single piece of rock or a single homogeneous body without any singular mass. Okay. So in the above passage, you can say that it could mean a huge single rock, but here it is only talking about monolith instead of talking about intangibility also. So A is incomplete. A is not the most correct answer, most likely. An untouchable singular mass, okay. Monolith is one single mass. Intangible is untouchable to some extent, yes, because we cannot touch it and feel it. So B seems to be a very good definition. Let's see C. An old and obsolete concept. Again, there is no indication to this. Now we may get confused between A and B, but C will allow us to C will allow us to understand that D cannot be the answer, because C is absolutely wrong. So in case you're confused between A and B, then maybe you can take a look at D. D says all of the above, and since C is not right, D cannot be right. So आपको most likely answer अगर आपको देखना है, you will see that it is intangible, which is untouchable, and monolith is singular mass. Okay, that is the idea. Question number 2. As per the passage, who are the caretakers of digital and wardens of our data? So let's see, where are we talking about caretakers of the digital and wardens of our data? Where are those terms? Here. Here they are saying they are the caretakers of the digital and the wardens of our data. Okay, so let's talk about which people. Technicians, engineers, executives. So let's see. Technicians, architects, executives. Do we have any relationship with the architects here? Have they spoken about architects? Not really. Not at least in this context, right? So we can simply say that aside from architects, technicians and executives are there in the passage. So answer should be B. Okay. I hope you understood how we came to this. We went to the location where the statement was given, and then what we tried was we basically tried to find the answers. So these two were mentioned, this one was not mentioned. Very simple. Okay. Question number 3. What is the profession of the writer? Now, what could be the profession of the writer? So let's see. If we take a look at this, the writer is talking about people here. Okay. He is saying here, for the past 6 years, I have observed, shadowed and interviewed data center professionals in United States and Iceland as an anthropologist. So the author has told you that he is an anthropologist. So the correct answer should be C. Again, this is given in one single statement, okay, in one single bit. So it should not be a problem getting to it. All right, guys. So this is what we have to, this is how we have to attempt the questions. Whenever there are part-based questions, we are supposed to go to those parts and we are supposed to take a look at exactly which part they are discussing. Okay, so many exams will have these kind of questions, and these are very easily solvable. I also request you to make a list of all the words that are new to you and that are given in the passage. So please make sure that you are doing that. It will help you build your vocabulary. That's all for this class. I'll catch up with you in the next session.